What's up, everybody? This is Johnny and Levi, and today I'm very excited to finally find out the castings for James Gunn's Superman Legacy. I have been very up on this project. We've kind of been divisive with in terms of all winners and on the opinions of not only this movie but
The DCU.
the DCU in general. But I'm very up on this, and we just got official castings for Superman and Lois Lane, and there's also some more rumors about who is going to play Lex Luthor. So I'm very excited. I wanted to break it down with Levi here, and
As
yeah, I
someone who
mean,
is
yeah, go ahead.
admittedly apprehensive about the DCU and another Superman and all this, not because I'm like a total Snyder head. Though I do like the Snyder, or what do they call themselves? Like the whole like
So Snyder
Snyderverse.
fans,
Yeah, that's not
yeah,
but like that like
the
specific group.
DCU heads.
Yeah, I don't associate with them, but I
Yeah,
do have a particular affinity for Henry Cavill Superman. So
yeah,
I'm bummed, but I'm excited to see
that's
where
true.
it goes. So I want to hear Johnny's. I think Johnny is way more plugged into the Superman
Yeah,
thing than I am.
um, definitely. I'm a Superman fan. But anyways, let's talk about this article first. So, comes from Hollywood Reporter. It's also been reported by Variety and
I mean,
everybody.
James Gunn
This
said it's
obviously
true.
official stuff. Yeah. So, if I can get, well, so it's official that yeah. So it's this has been a fan cast for like years. So this guy named David Cornsweet, pretty, I think, unknown actor. I imagine you really haven't heard about him prior,
I
Levi.
saw Pearl. I saw Pearl. I liked him in
So
Pearl.
Pearl, he's in Pearl. Yeah, that was, I guess, the most recent
But
thing. So, yeah, he's playing Superman and Clark Kent. So it's official. So he was in the top three. It was him. Um, Nicholas Holt, and there's one other guy. I think his name was Tom Brittany. That was his name. So, but James picked David Cornsweet, and he's the new Superman. So
who looks strikingly like Henry Cavill, and I know it's the whole like, well, Henry
I
Cavill looks like
don't
Superman
really
thing,
agree
but
with that. Like, he just looks like Superman. Like, I don't think that they look that like, sure, like,
there's some photos,
objectively,
man.
they're
Bro,
both like tall white guys with dark hair, like on that level, sure, but I don't think they like
and I know the whole thing. Like, yes, they
look the
both just look
same.
like Superman, but I don't think there are other Supermen, literally like the Superman and Lois Superman, who do not. He
Yeah,
doesn't look like Henry Cavill, and whereas David Cornsweet
I I
does look like Henry Cavill. It is a little bit funny where I'm like, oh, this is just Henry Cavill
they
10
have
years ago.
I guess a general resemblance. I don't see it as much as people are like honing in on it. But okay, sure,
I don't know. I just think it's funny. That's all. I just think it's funny
it's
because I remember
funny.
James said he had a whole thing about how he's like, I won't cast someone who looks like Henry Cavill. And then you think, okay, all right, guy.
Well, yeah. I can tell you out of the three guys that were on the last
Oh, I
the top
agree.
three,
Having seen the top three, I think he is the best choice.
he's the perfect.
Visually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's great. And again, he's been again fan casted for a very long time. So yeah, I'm very up on this. Very excited. He's been my dream for fan cast for forever as well. Besides Henry Cavill, obviously, but and then they have Rachel Brosnahan. So she's a much more well known. She starred in the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which is a Amazon Prime show. It's very popular. A lot of talks and award seasons and stuff like that. Um, but she's Lois Lane. So I'm kind of surprised by her being Lois Lane. But Levi, what do you think?
Well, yeah. I mean, she. I don't know. Like as not a big Superman fan, and I was
Yeah.
saying this to someone else, just like how Daniel Craig is my Bond.
Hmm.
The Superman and Lois Lane of the DCU have just sort of been like in my head as what
Yeah.
Superman and Lois Lane look like. And
That's
so,
fair.
so when I saw it initially, I'll be honest, I was like, I don't see it. I was like, I don't see it. But then again, that's the job of an actor, and
Yeah.
uh, she has extreme prestige. I think she can
Yeah.
probably handle the role. Like, I don't know. I don't have. I don't have a lot of strong feelings, but the more I looked into both of them, the more I was like, okay, like I see where they're coming from. Where I can add most of this conversation comes later on down the line. Where in this casting report, they've talked about casting for some of the other parts of the movie that
Yeah.
allude to what the plot of it is going to be, and that's where I had the
Yeah.
strongest reaction. Um, but I think this is good. I mean, I don't know. They clearly had chemistry together. We got to
Yeah.
see what
Yeah,
Lex
well,
Luthor
it is
can do.
interesting because they didn't I mean, according to the reports and everything, they didn't really screen test together, so they kind of
They didn't.
paired.
I thought they said they did.
No,
Oh,
they well, apparently they because not that I've seen, because what has been reported on is they had the top three contenders for both Clark and Lois, and they matched David Corn Sweat with Emma Mackey. Nicholas Holt was with Rachel Brosnahan, so they were together.
hmm.
And then it was this guy, Tom Brittany, and then also and Phoebe Deniver. Um, so they were put into screen tests, and this was weekend. Last weekend, they had Clark and Lois screen tests, so they put those pairs together, and then they had a separate day of casting or a screen test with the Superman with a Superman suit. I don't know if it was Cavill's, but it would be kind of crappy if it was.
Probably was.
I imagine it was Christopher Reeve's suit, but I don't know. So,
Probably Cavill.
but yeah, I was a little, I was surprised. I thought they were gonna go with the screen test matches, but because I was really I was hoping for Emma Mackey personally out of the group.
I was also hoping for
I
Emma.
think she has a look for Lois, and I think she's a great actor. She's in Sex Education, so that's a great show on Netflix. But they went with Rachel. I also think Rachel is really good. So I've actually done a little more like I guess not research, but I've looked at like scenes with her in certain shows or movies or whatever. But she's got a very good range. So I do think she can do Lois really well. And so I am overall very very excited. I was, but again, I was kind of surprised about Rachel, but happy about it. Happy about both of them, and I cannot wait. But kind of scrolling down into this article, we'll get into what we were talking about just a second ago. So yeah, release date July 11, 2025.
You think it'll hit that date?
Um, if they start shooting, like James said at the beginning of the year or beginning of 2024, yes, probably, yeah.
And
But
you're here to the part of the article which I have the most to say,
yeah,
where it says the casting search will now continue for characters such as Lex Luthor and the
yep,
superheroes The Authority, who are expected to debut
the
in Legacy
authority,
before their own film. And this is where
yeah,
we disagree the most, where I have the most to say, where I am very worried that, because to summarize, it said in one of the previous reports that Superman Legacy is about Superman coming into a world where superheroes already exist. And
yeah.
already I'm like, okay, maybe. Like I don't know if I want another like team up
I'm
standalone,
not.
like
Yeah.
just because James Gunn has made a career already in the superhero genre of these huge ensemble pieces. Guardians,
Hmm.
Suicide Squad, Peacemaker, and each one has had a very particular tone to it, or
Hmm.
the way it feels. It feels
Yeah.
James Gunn. Like I said, I enjoy almost all of those projects to like completely. So that isn't necessarily a problem for me. But the DCU, no matter what he says about Blue Beetle or whatever the hell, being the first DCU characters, Superman Legacy will be the proper start of the DCU. He can say whatever the hell he
Yep.
wants about these other movies. This will be the start. And to
This is
start it
different.
with not an origin movie, or not necessarily origin, because we've seen the origin of Superman so many times, but a
Yeah.
standalone, I should say, where it's just
Y-
focused on
Young
Superman,
Superman. Yeah. This is
and
a
to do
young Superman.
and to do another, like, okay, there's young Superman, but it already exists in this world, and throwing the audience into another superhero team. I just don't know if I want that. I don't know if I want that or if we're there yet. Like I thought the Authority, because they announced an Authority movie, like okay, Superman will
Yeah.
build to this, but to put it in the first one, like after what happened with the Flash and
Well, I
Blue Beetle and
believe the
Aquaman,
Authority is the movie that's supposed to come out after Legacy, if I remember correctly.
I just I thought it was that and then Brave and the Bold, and then
Yeah.
I thought the Authority was going to be like the Avengers buildup of like, oh, now they gotta. I don't know. I
No.
thought
No.
it seems like too much too fast again, because Lex Luthor's also going
I
to be in.
I understand. I understand where you're coming from. I do. Um, but I think you're a little disillusioned with it. Um, like this is. Well, I know why you're disillusioned with it. I completely understand your perspective, but What I'm taking out of this is I think I'm getting an understanding of where James's head is at with inspirations from other Superman stories and stuff like that. So there's this very famous Superman story, arguably one of the best. Short title is Superman versus the Elite, but it's what's so funny about True Justice in the American Way. Anyway, so it's Superman. Um, I'm not gonna say against, but there's this new team of superheroes, like this two kind of extremists, like little league of superheroes. Um, and they're kind of they're killing people at will. They're kind of just going about things kind of in the wrong way. So it's this kind of moral. The whole story is this kind of moral clash between you know the goodness of I guess of Superman, what he represents versus the elite. Um, which they're all about, just getting things done and and stuff like that, and just no matter what cost, kind of ideal. Um, and it seems like they're kind of he's replacing the elite with the authority. Now the authority is kind of always they're like technically not even in the DC proper canon. They're kind of offshoot characters a bit. So I was pretty surprised that they're um, coming into the DCU movie slate. It's very interesting, but that's where I think that's where the story seems to be going, and I think that's kind of what the main inspiration for this is going to be. So I'm very excited by that because I've read the story, and I know that I'm excited. I'm excited is what I'm trying to say. I don't think it will be. James has made it very clear that this is not like I think he is self-aware of what people have been saying about, he has a certain style with these team up movies and all that stuff. And I think he's tackling Superman much differently,
It's
and so
just
far that's what I've seen.
when they first announced the DCU, and I made a claim that the Authority was basically just like a version of the boys. It's a trope of like, oh, the dark superheroes like that we've sort of been going through
Sure.
recently.
Yeah.
Why how I just struggle to see how he wouldn't make it like the Suicide Squad or Peacemaker or Guard. Like that is like something that's so right up James Gunn's alley that how could
Yeah.
it not invoke that style, which to me
Mhm.
just doesn't like fit with Superman at all. Um, but I don't know. Like, and how do you think Lex Luthor fits into all this?
I think Lex Luthor is going to be very much a background villain. I don't think he's going to be the main villain of this movie. There's been a common rumor about that he might actually be the villain, and there's a version of him from the comics called Apex, where it's like he's like super juiced up and like has like these powers, and apparently will fight Superman. That's been a big rumor about this movie, and that he's going to be the villain of that. I don't foresee that, just given what has been kind of said here, especially from the Hollywood Reporter. Tying in the Authority, coming into a world where there's already pre-established superheroes. Like, I don't think this movie can juggle all of that, plus having like a super juiced up Lex Luthor, and they battle through Metropolis. I don't foresee that. I think Lex Luthor is going to work really well in the DCU, being a background villain and kind of pulling the strings behind the scenes throughout the movies. And they kind of continue that, because that's where Lex Luthor works best. He's a public figure, and he'll do anything for the people to love him. So
Where does the
um,
legacy title come from? Do you think legacy?
I think it's a double meaning, because I think where what I'm imagining the Superman movie is kind of like, in terms of a Superman timeline, where it's kind of setting place. Obviously, it's a very young Superman. It may even be, and I don't know this. It may even be him traveling from Smallville to Metropolis officially, and being this could be his first
Okay.
big move to the city. So I think Superman is a character who holds a lot of legacy. Obviously, being the last son of Krypton, so the legacy of Krypton, he is the embodiment of that. And then also, the legacy of Mom and Pa Kent's values from Smallville. So he's taken that into a bigger city where a harsher environment certainly than the fields of Smallville. So with a lot more diverse voices and maybe even radical ideas and stuff like that. So and that's kind of where I see
All of what
the
you said
story
just
going.
made sense to me. And then
Yeah.
but then I think of the Authority and like the James Gunn goofy like evil superhero team. Like I'm like, how does that? I just don't know how it.
I I don't think it's gonna be like how you're phrasing it. I completely understand your hesitancy. I think that's given the situation of DC Studios and or kind of DC in general at the moment. It's understandable, but I think once we get more info, James, I'm hoping that WB goes to San Diego Comic Con next month and they kind of talk about some things um, about this movie more specifically because I'm itching to
Know
know
about
more,
that.
obviously, because they're gearing up for production now. I mean, they may even have the final costume design. I don't know. So they're moving pretty quickly on pre-production. So um, I I understand your hesitancy given the past of his style and everything, but I do think this is going to be different. So.
So in terms of Lex Luthor, though, you I think you'd mentioned
Yeah.
before
So
a
Lex
list.
Luthor is another part of this movie. I'm trying to think. We didn't miss anything else from this?
Yeah, but who's playing him? Who's playing Lex Luthor? I think that's the big question.
That is the question. So I didn't. So you only know of Nicholas Holt, and that's been
Yeah,
kind of a off and on rumor because there was debates of him being Superman or being Lex Luthor. Of course, he didn't. He was in the top three for Superman, but didn't land it. And it's also kind of sad because he was also about to be
or
Batman, but Robert
Batman.
Pattinson came in. So, uh, you know, and also you said
He's also
he was going to be in
apparently
Mission
a front
Impossible.
runner of a Mission
So,
Impossible villain. Yeah.
uh, you know, I feel bad for the guy. I feel bad for the guy. But I'm holding. Let me sorry, I'm having trouble pulling this up. But yeah, so Nicholas Holt, I think would be a great Lex Luthor. I would definitely be very down for that. But there are now somehow right after David and Rachel were announced, there was some rumblings about Lex. So I'll pull up this article here. This is from CBR. Again, this is all rumors stuff right now, so it's not anything crazy. But there's a short list for Lex Luthor, and the big two are Alexander and Bill
The
Skarsgård,
Skarsgårds, right? Okay, I
the
think I had seen
Skarsgård
that.
brothers.
That'd be something.
That
Wow.
would be something, right? I
I don't know if I
don't
like that.
know how I feel about either of them.
Definitely
I
not
don't think I
Alexander.
like either of them for Lex.
Definitely not Alexander for Lex. I don't see
Definitely not
Alexander at
Alexander.
all.
I think he's too old for this cast.
That too, but like, have you seen The Northman? Like, I don't look at that
Yeah,
guy and go, "Ah, yes, Lex Luthor."
I yeah,
I
and
see. I could
it's been funny. There's been some like fan art with obviously making them bald and trying to
I
do
could
all
see
that stuff.
Bill.
But
I think I could see
I
Bill.
I could see Bill. I could see Bill, but I always have wanted him to be uh, Joker. But that's kind of an easy casting. But oh, here's an ad.
I feel like Nicholas Holt might be too similar to Jesse Eisenberg though too.
Um,
And obviously, it's the way you play them, but
yeah, it's definitely the way you play them. That's for sure. Um,
God,
I
Jesse
see what you're
Eisenberg.
saying though. I guess, but I think out of the three, where it's like Nicholas Holt or
No, Nicholas Holt easily. Yeah,
these two, I think it's him. And I think it would be so good because it could inform his like jealousy for not
yeah.
landing Batman or Superman, and like he's watching he's gonna face off against the guy who he
Took his
lost the
spot.
role
Yeah,
to. I like obviously that like I hope there's no bad blood, but I think it could be funny to inform the character a little bit, or would help
maybe.
his performance maybe because Lex Luthor wants to take Superman down, obviously, like because he's on a power trip 24/7. So um,
Okay, I can see. I
anywho,
like that actually. I like that.
I
That'd be
think
fun.
yeah. So I don't know. I think I imagine we'll get Lex announced pretty soon because we just got these two, and it's only been a week. So if we're already getting now another report about Lex, I imagine that being maybe in the next few weeks if it is public. But yeah, there's not a ton of news besides that stuff. I'm hoping there's something at San Diego Comic Con, like I said, but that's pretty much it. So,
There you go.
so
The Superman casting. Yeah, you've been the most plugged into this, so I think
I've yeah, I love Superman. So I DC is my first love. So I will say I'm very excited. I'm very excited. I'm hoping it's good. I trust. I do trust James Gunn. Again, once this year is over, and the movies are what the movies are, and we can jump into the DCU and the way it's intended, I think things are going to be a lot better. But that's my take.
I
So
hope so. Well, thank you
yeah.
guys for watching, and I think you should leave your thoughts down below about what you think of the Superman casting and Lois Lane casting.
Hmm.
Obviously, who do you think should be Lex Luthor? I think is another
Yeah.
one. Or
Yeah.
maybe you thought someone else should be Superman. Leave that down below too. But
Hmm.
this weekend we should have coverage of Indiana Jones 5 coming out
We're all seeing it tomorrow at the time of this
tomorrow.
recording. So I
Yeah,
guess yeah,
we're seeing it early
whenever that is.
on
But
early Thursday. Then
yep.
we should have another pod coming out, also talking about some of this stuff we talked about today with Flash, what's going on with the box office, Secret Invasion a little bit,
Hmm.
which is going to be coming out. So yeah,
Yeah.
look out for that, guys, and we'll see you on the
Yeah.
next one.
See you guys.